Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There are many things in life that can transport you back to being a child, be it a particular song, TV show, or maybe a movie. But your childhood toys, when looked back on as an adult, can take you back to your younger days in an instant. Whether it's your favourite toy you played with until you wore it out, or the elusive toy that Santa just couldn't fit in his sack. Here's our fact hunter Neil with eagle eyes and rubber grip to give us 10 toy facts.
Thank you very much, Pav. So what I've looked up for us is the top 10 biggest selling toys worldwide, just for you. So at number 10, we've got Lego. And the company has produced over 320 billion blocks since their release.
Barbie, you're beautiful.
At number 9, we've got the Etch-a-Sketch. More than 175 million sold since the 60s.
Action plan.
Now with eagle eyes that actually move.
And then at number 8, we've got Hot Wheels. There has been over 11,000 different cars since it came out in the 80s.
Barbie, you're beautiful.
And 7, we got G.I. Joe, released in the 60s and became at one time responsible for 75% of all of Hasbro's sales.
Action plan.
Now with eagle eyes that actually move.
At number 6, Transformers came out in the 80s and still sells as strong today.
You need a very steady hand.
At number 5, Silly Putty. In 1943, Scottish engineer James Wright invented it. It is now known to have sold over 300 million units worldwide.
It's my turn to operate.
Number 4, Radio Flyer. Since 1917 has sold over 100 million.
You need a very steady hand.
And number 3, Easy Oven. A Hasbro product that sold over 30 million of their 50th anniversary edition.
It's my turn to operate.
Number 2, the Yo-Yo. Been known as a toy for over 2,000 years.
You need a very steady hand.
Now, can anybody guess what the number 1 toy would be worldwide?
Hula hoop.
No? Lucy?
No, it's beat Lego. It's some kind of Star Wars toy or something.
No, it's Barbie.
Oh,
Over 1 billion dolls sold in 50 years.
And that's why the world is fucked.
It's my
Isn't
turn
it?
to operate.
That's the problem with the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
well, there you go. I mean, I feel like that's part of almost the podcast done there, Neil. Thank you for those wonderful facts.
No, that's a pleasure.
We are here to do the top 10 toys that you wanted or maybe had as a child. And we are joined by our special guest, Lucy Nichol. It's been a long time, Lucy, far too long. How are you?
It has. I'm very good, thank you. Apart from a cold, but pretty good. It's not COVID, but we're on Zoom anyway, so we're all good.
We're all safe, I think.
Yeah.
Unless a new variant comes out, the Zoom variant.
Zoom variant.
Oh my
I'll
God,
maybe
do you
stand
imagine?
back a bit.
Yeah, can you imagine all the
green distance
podcasts
or
that would be
something,
shagged
yeah.
if that was the case, if it was a Zoom variant? Goodness me. So yes, I was saying before we went on air that this has been quite an emotional roller coaster looking back on some of these toys. I don't know about you, but I've also with my top 10, I also had a look on not YouTube, on eBay to see how much these particular toys are going for on eBay as well. And God, the amount of times that my finger was just poised on the bid button because I thought I would love to have that back in my collection. So in regards to you guys, how hard has it been to compile your top 10, Lucy?
It wasn't too difficult. There were a few that I was not sure about whether or not I needed them in. My top 3 were very easy, very, very easy. And I've had a discussion with my mother already today because I told her I was doing this. And I said, can you guess what's at number 1? And she guessed And she said, "See, I'm a great mum." And I said, "No, because you never got me it, did you?" So she said that was good education, that kids can't always get what they want. But yeah, I think it was fairly straightforward.
Yeah. Neil?
Yeah, I had to watch those YouTube videos that showed you all the old adverts. There's a particular site that goes through it all to sort of remind myself. It took a while to remember what I wanted as a kid. There was a couple that were very easy, but to fill the top 10 out, I really had to remind myself of the toys of the time. And it was very nice to reminisce and go back. It was lovely, actually. Watching the old adverts, I find so fascinating.
I got a funny feeling that we might, like myself and Neil, might have a couple of duplicates. I mean, Lucy's far too young to be having the same sort of toys, and obviously she's a girl, not a boy, so she's going to probably have completely different ones to the ones that we have.
Yeah, but some toys were universal, weren't they?
I mean, some were.
Yeah, not so much in the 70s, but some were.
No, some toys in the 70s were just death traps. I was looking back thinking, my God, they used to sell. I mean, spud guns and things like that would have your eye out these days, you know.
Absolutely.
Right then, Lucy, kick us off with your number 10 toy you wanted as a child.
So number 10 was one that I had, but I needed to put it in this list because it was so joyful. And the reason why it was so joyful was because you made a racket with it and it drove your parents mad. Can you guess what it is?
Xylophone.
Oh, no, no, it wasn't. The advert didn't sell it on the sound, but it was Hungry Hippos.
Oh, right.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so
that was a noisy game.
A very, very noisy game, a very fast-paced, fraught, noisy game. So I guess I'm the only person who's got that on their list.
Absolutely. I mean, that is still a game. I mean, that's still a game that you can get these days, isn't it? I think Hungry Hippos, because I know that my kids have definitely played it.
Yeah,
and they're in their 20s.
Well, it's one of those games that you don't need any skill for. You just need to go for it, don't you? You just need to like whack the thing. What is the thing? The thing is, I don't know, a hippo's tail or something. I don't know what you're whacking.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so.
Yeah. To gobble up those little white ball things and everything flies everywhere and it was so noisy. But do you know what? It's pretty sturdy. I think that's one of the toys that I had that lasted. It did all right. Not like Buckaroo, but we'll not talk about that.
I was going to say the same as things like Mousetrap. We've talked about it before, Neil, haven't we? In one of the Patreon little 10-minute top 10s. In the fact that is very fragile, whereas Hungry Hippos, you could be, you could really whack the shit out of it. And I think the more you did that, the better chance you had of winning.
Oh yeah. That was the only way to play it. You had to go in there and just go for it, didn't you? Like there was no point in being shy about it. With Hungry Hippos, you needed to show some sort of fierce tenacity.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was good.
What a great, sturdy, violent way to start the podcast.
Yeah.
Go on then, Neil. You're number 10.
So a proper bought go-kart, because I growing up was sort of about 8 to about 12 when we were really into our go-karts. So a few of my friends had the proper bought ones, but my dad always built my go-kart. And I was always not embarrassed by it. It was a great thing to play with, but I always envied all my friends that had the pedals on the front. And, you know, mine was a free one. You had to go to a hill to be able to use it. You couldn't just go along the street. I wanted one that I could buzz about with. So, yeah, I was always envious of my friends with a proper metal go-kart.
What, and ones that had like round wheels instead of your square wheels, and
instead of the pram wheels that I always seem to have. Yeah, my dad would go up to he would go up to the scrap, or he'd take me out there, and we'd have to find pram wheels or old small bicycle wheels to fix it. So one side would be a thick like bicycle wheel, the other side would be a pram wheel, and I'd be constantly going down hills like this.
Doing
no brakes.
Sorts of like the Red Bull Soapbox Challenge or something?
Yeah, very much like that.
Surely it's more fun. Like there's got to be more danger involved.
Yeah, well, it is when you're on a hill, and it was a lot of fun. But the problem was, all my friends could pedal theirs home. I had to drag mine and walk, and I always felt left out. So that's why I wanted a real one. But thank you, Dad, though. But I did enjoy what I had.
Okay, right. My number 10 is I used to love things like Scale Electrics, but I would never have the patience to click it all together, and then when you did click it all together, you'd press the little, I don't know what you call it, the controller, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then it'd spin off the first, the first bend that it would, and then I think I can't be bothered with this anymore. But the one that I remembered, I think we had it, but I definitely remember the advert for it, is a thing called Matchbox Race and Chase.
Oh yeah,
it used to be a cop car and a normal car, and the thing was that on the controller there was a button on the top, and when you slapped the top, the car did a U-turn.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm pretty sure we had it one year, and it was the fact that it could U-turn, because I was a massive Starsky and Hutch fan back in the 70s. So, things like U-turns in cars and the cop cars was something that I absolutely loved. And to be able to do that on a Scalextric, because it was supposed to, rather than it spinning off because you were just going too fast around the corner. And the one thing about the adverts with probably all of these kinds of toys, it never did what it did on the advert. It never used to do the same thing. So it never exactly did a U-turn or blocked the cop car, never blocked the other car like it did in the advert. But that was loads of fun. Loads of fun. And £85 on eBay now if you wanted to get a box.
Oh really? Well, I've got Scalextrics at 6, so it's a similar thing.
I would put that as a similar thing.
But I wanted the rally car one. My brother had a Scalextrics, and of course, being older than me, would never let me play with it unless he'd set it up and supervised, and then was always telling me that I was going too fast, I'm going to ruin everything. So I always wanted a Scalextrics of my own, but I wanted the rally car one. I always remember seeing the advert for it and really wanted it to have the jump.
Right.
So, yeah,
I can imagine, like, when you're older, putting it on a proper board or something, and then a bit like a railway set, you build the whole terrain around it. That kind of thing I would love. But yeah,
I mean, I've got one now. I've got Scalextrics now. I've got Star Wars Scalextrics.
No, you haven't. Why have you never told me this, Neil?
Oh, really? I don't get it out very much because I want to. It's the pod race from Phantom Menace.
Jesus, why have you left this item? We've never. I've got to come round your house and play it.
Well, I ain't got enough room in my house now, but I can bring it in the summer. I'll bring it. We'll put it outside.
Okay, then. Oh, this is excellent.
I will bring it round for you if it still works. I haven't put it up for a while. But
oh my lord!
It's not very big though, Pav. It's not very big.
I don't care.
Quite disappointing.
I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. Anyway, Lucy, I'm all of a flutter now. I don't know what else to think now after that. Right, Lucy, you're number 9.
Number 9. So for number 9, I've chosen something that also didn't really show it as it was on the advert, and that's Domino Rally.
Oh yeah.
God, yeah.
Because what they didn't show you on the advert was setting it up.
No, that's true. That is
they only showed the fun bit. And so it reminded me of, I think that something I experienced when I was traveling as an adult really reminds me of Domino Rally. And that was when we were trying sandboarding in Australia, and it took forever to climb up these sand dunes. And then you'd go down and that'd be great. But then you've got this really boring trek back up with your little board or whatever. And then, but to be honest, and that just makes me think more about your go-kart, to be honest. Get that up a hill and come down. And that's what Domino Rally reminds me of, because there's this little intense bit of fun, which didn't always go to plan anyway, but the majority of your time was spent really organising, which isn't fun. That's not great fun. And it's not something that I had, so I was never really the one responsible for tidying all the little pieces away. But my friend had it, and I don't remember us ever really playing with it very much because of it was hard work more than anything. The payoff just not worth it.
God, that's what I hadn't even thought about.
I'd forgotten that. Yeah,
I think it's going to happen a lot in the next hour or so. Is names and visions that I haven't thought about for 40 years. Do you know what I mean? It's something that's going to be. I mean, the words Domino Rally. I literally
was that the one that was on like a strip and you tipped it to get all the dominoes up? No.
Oh, they maybe did release something like that, but I think they were literally just separate pieces that you had to balance and space them out. You had to space them properly. If you didn't space them properly, they weren't going to knock over properly and create these those glow-in-the-dark magical patterns that they created on the adverts. I mean, I don't know if anybody ever saw that in real life.
No,
because I didn't.
Yeah, they would have had a team of 50 people working 10 hours to do that. Yeah,
exactly. I think it was just a big con, personally.
Yeah. But it made your top 10. That's the thing. It made your top 10
because I wanted it. I saw it and I wanted it. But when I had a go at it, nah.
No. Go on then, Neil. You're number 9.
So in the 70s, I went to a Christmas party with my mum and dad around the local pub, and Father Christmas gave me Dr. Zeus from Planet of the Apes doll, like action figure with a thing, which was fair enough. But being like a 7-year-old boy or whatever I was, Dr. Zeus was the old man, wasn't he? And I was really bored. So on the back, there was always the other characters, you know, like the generals and the army. And I really wanted to collect the rest. I could never find where they sold them. And so I just wanted a few more of the Planet of the Apes figures rather than playing with the old man. It's one that, I mean, it was the TV series was on then, wasn't it? Remember the TV series?
I remember the TV series.
You might not.
I don't know if I ever watched it, to be honest.
I think it used to be on Sunday afternoon. Was it a Sunday afternoon?
I think so. And then there was a cartoon as well, wasn't there?
There was, yeah.
But I used to love Planet of the Apes, the TV series and the cartoon. And then getting that doll, or action figure, was really good until I realised who it was. And then I was like, well, he can't really do a lot. He has to dictate to everyone. And I wanted the rest. And I kept badgering my mum, and she kept saying, I've been looking, can't find it. So,
didn't she just pop onto the internet and pop onto Google?
What, in the 70s?
Yeah, I'm sure she would have found it there.
She went down to the phone box and rang around.
Goodness me. And it's also a sign of the times when you say playing with the old man really does sound bad, Neil. You shouldn't say things like that on the internet.
Yeah. Playing with
in many ways, that can be taken so many different ways.
It could, couldn't it? I didn't think about that. But people, I
don't know whether that says more about me than it says about you, Neil. Bringing that up. Okay, my number 9 is Tin Can Alley. I don't know if you can remember that.
I had it.
Did you have it?
Yeah,
Neil. You're becoming my hero in this episode. It was one of those. My next one after this is one of those ones that was on my Christmas list for Santa every year. And for some reason, Santa just couldn't get hold of it. And again, I don't know, did it live up to expectations? Because the advert made it look like it was just awesome.
Chuck Connors, wasn't it?
Chuck Connors, yeah.
Yeah, he advertised it. Yeah, it was good until my brother sussed out that he could stand in the door of my bedroom with a torch and make all the cans fling off before I'd even fired. So it was a bit sort of ruined for me.
Right.
But yeah, it was fun. Me and my dad used to play it a lot. I used to get my mum to do it, and she's
still got that, have you?
No, that went a long time ago. God knows where that is.
£158 on eBay now.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, all boxed in the original box. Well,
if only I'd known you back then.
I was saying all of these things. I wonder where they're all on eBay. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So what did you use in Tin? So it's to shoot the cans down.
Yeah. So it'd have a faux block of wood that looked like a fence. And then you used to set them on, and in front of it was a light sensor. And on your gun, you'd have to cock it, and then once you press fire, it would shoot. Just open up a torch really to hit the sensor, and then the can would poof off and make a noise.
Happy days. Right, go on then, Lucy. You're number 8.
So my number 8 is one of those life-size dolls. Not those dolls. Baby dolls. Oh, dolls. You know the dolls that
I know that. Yes, we know the dolls.
Yeah. So that it was always the girls playing with the dolls, pretending that they were mummy, and they would like push them around. Anyway, I didn't do that. I wasn't very girly when I was growing up. But what I did discover that you could do is you could put the doll. This sounds so evil. You could lie the doll on the floor, and you could run up to it and jump on it, and its head would fly off. That is what we did with those dolls, and that was so much fun. And it was a little bit like the domino rally and the sandboarding, in that once you had that fun, it took forever to squeeze the head back on. I'm not sure they were meant to come off. It would take forever to do it, and then you get the head back on, place it back on the garage floor, take another run up, bosh, it's off. So that's all I remember about my baby doll thing, but it was lots of fun.
Wow. I can remember getting our daughters some of those from, I think it was Toys R Us, when they were and they were like the same size as my daughters.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where they would put them in their room when you walk into their room, and it would shit you up because you think that it was like Blair Witch Project. They'd just be stood in the corner of their room, but it was actually a doll. But they were, yeah. I don't think they ever jumped on them and made their heads pop off, though.
I don't know how we discovered that, but it was an absolute joy when we did.
I was going to say, what a beautiful discovery that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never went on to hurt animals or anything, don't worry. It was just that short phase.
Of course, the other kind of life-size dolls you can jump on and their heads don't pop off. From what I've heard, I don't know.
From what you've heard.
From what Neil told me, because he's probably got one of those as well. Like he's got all the other stuff.
A life-size doll.
Yeah, so, let's not talk about that, Neil. No. Okay, you're number 8, Neil. You're number 8.
So in Woolies, they used to sell these swimming pools, and they were toys. Make it yourself, fill it up. And a few of my friends had them, and I always wanted it. And I still hold a grudge to my parents who made me bathe or sit in an old tin bath thing. And that's what we played in with my brother when we were younger. And I wanted a proper swimming pool, but they would never get us. My dad would be like, that'll do. As we got out and cut ourselves on galvanized and everything.
But you were like 18. When you're 18 years old.
Me and my brother at 18 still sat in the same galvanized pool thing.
So what you mean, like a blow up rubber pool kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, there was one purpose that I put on my Christmas list for years, and Woolies always sold it, and it was sort of almost quite a high one, built with a white plastic frame and the thing fitted around it. And like I said, I used to love going to my friends and swimming in, paddling or whatever it was, or splashing around in theirs. And for about 4 years, I said to my parents, could I please have one of these? I never got it. But yeah.
Did you ever have a sprinkler? Because they were lots of fun. I don't know why, just running.
Yeah, we did have a sprinkler. Yeah, but it was always being used because my dad's was a landscape gardener. So it would be, we'd set it all up and he'd be like, I need that. And then take it away. We'd be like, we'll just splash the hose around. But yeah.
Goodness me. Something as simple as a swimming pool.
Never got it and always wanted it.
So when you were older, when you were an adult, was one of the first things you do just go out and buy a swimming pool?
So at the time when I was married, I bought a massive one until some git jumped in it at a party that we had and popped it. So
it wasn't Lucy thinking it was a life-size doll, was it?
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, she ran all the way.
All the way from Hull.
That's
I want to see if his head pops off.
Yeah, so as simple as that. It was a simple toy that I always wanted, and I envied people about having.
Well, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday now then.
Oh, a swimming pool. Got no.
Yeah.
It'll have to be an indoor one.
That's fine. Right, my number 8 was the ultimate thing that I never got for Christmas that I always wanted, and it was a game called Crossfire.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah,
do you remember that? Right, Lucy. So what it is it was a tabletop game with a goal at each end, and then you had like a gun at each end, which you would fill with little ball bearings, and then in the middle would be a bigger ball bearing with I think it was like a rubber thing around it, and you would shoot your ball bearings trying to hit the big ball bearing into the opposite goal.
Right.
And it was one of those things, as soon as Christmas came up and then the advert came on, it was the first thing that go on my Christmas list. Crossfire, please, Santa. I want Crossfire. And I never got it. It never materialized under the tree. And then it would be the following Christmas, and he went, right, this year's is going to be the year I'm going to get Crossfire this year. And it never happened. And then in the end, it would be like, I knew I would never get it. £90 on eBay at the moment, fully boxed, £90. And you can also buy extra ball bearings as well, apparently.
Oh.
So that was
Would
one of
be
the
illegal
ones.
now, wouldn't it?
It probably would be, but that was one of the ones that I had my finger flittering over the bid now button for Crossfire, just to sort of, I don't know. I'll probably get it and think, what a load of crap this is. Oh my God, this is boring.
Would you actually unpack it if you paid all that money?
Oh, I would rip the box off and just start playing it. I would, because it was just one of those games that is a bit like Hungry Hippos in the fact that it's just like, just madness. You know, you're just firing these and hoping that, you know, you get the ball bearing into their goal before they get it into your goal. Oh, happy days. But I've never played it in my life. I didn't even have a mate who had it that I could go and play it. Never.
Did it even exist?
Well, I remember the advert. It might have been just a really bad dream. I don't know. I'm sure. Well, I mean, people have got it on sale on eBay. So whether they're all dreaming about it as well, I don't know. But yeah, that's my number. That's my number 8. Lucy, you're number 7.
So for number 7, I've got Magic Sand. Do you remember that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So the reason I've got Magic Sand, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a theme here, because I think for nearly everything, it was the magic of the advert, and actually in reality it was very different.
Yeah.
But I used to watch this advert, and they used to create these. So Magic Sand, I think you put it's sand that went in water, and you created these underwater sort of cities, and it just looked so cool. And the things that they created on the advert were just wow. And I just like, I want one of those. So I got this Magic Sand. I can't remember if it was multicolored. It might have been, but it was colored anyway, sand. And I don't think I made much more than like a couple of like turrets in the sand. I don't think there was much I could do with it. I think I always did fancy myself as a bit of a creative when I was younger, but I was not very good at it. So yeah, Magic Sand. I remember there was a time my sister got a new My Little Pony, and I went for the Magic Sand, and I was again a bit disappointed, but the advert promised so much. So.
I don't know whether it's bad because of the advert or whether it just shows you how great advertising executives and people that made the adverts were, you know, and how gullible we were as children, that we all thought that we could do what we saw in the adverts, especially with anything that was artistic, whether it was spirographs or Etch-a-Sketch or any of those kind of things.
It just flew off, didn't I? Mean, I'm getting wound up just thinking about that spirograph, because it just, you would do it and you would get there and it would just fly off and your pen would go all over. And it's just like the equivalent of, you know, as an adult, I'm 43 years old and I watch people doing their, you know, winged eyeliner on YouTube tutorials all the time, and it looks like the easiest thing, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
And that was Magic Sand as well. It looked easy, it looked fabulous, but nah.
Yeah, I spent 20 minutes today in my dinner break at work looking at how to shape a beard, and they made it look so easy. Do you know what I mean? They made it look lovely and neat and straight and angled. I've tried it, and then I've shaved half my beard off because I can't do it. Because how are you supposed to look at it? Drives me mad. It drives me mad. It really does. That's a good one, Magic Sand.
I've completely forgotten about that.
I know. You're number 7.
So Nintendo's first foray, the little handheld Donkey Kong game. Do you remember this, where you could open it in half? Yeah. I always wanted it. Now, my brother was bought that one for his for that Christmas, and I was given a single screen one about a bloke on a bike, and it was so much boring compared to what my brother had. So my brother was quite nice, and he used to say, "No, go on, carry on and have a go and everything." But I always wanted what he had. I don't know why it was a BMX thing, so I suppose my parents thought it was quite popular and modern at the time, but it was the most boring game. You just had to cycle along the road, almost like Paperboy, but without throwing the papers. So I wanted Donkey Kong, the little handheld one, big time, and I even asked for it the following year, but they didn't say. My parents had a great thing: is your brother's got it, ask him if you can play with that.
That never works.
No, because my brother straight away would go, no.
Or
but you're not playing.
Loan you it for a fiver.
No.
Yeah.
So was that? It wasn't a cartridge game or anything. It was just
no. It was an inbuilt. I don't know. They're 6 inches long or whatever, and about that sort of thing. And the Donkey Kong one had a dual screen,
right?
So you'd work your way up as Mario to the Donkey Kong at the top. Proper.
Well,
game.
anybody watching the video on YouTube will see a picture of the game, so you'll be able to see exactly what it was.
But yeah, you couldn't change the game. You were stuck at what the game was. And the annoying thing is, if you got to like a level 50 and you had to go and you turned it off, you had to start again.
Right.
There was no such facility as saving or anything like that. So, but it was still great fun.
Yeah. Did they get to a point where your brother just got bored of it and just went, "Here you go," and chucked it at you, or anything?
Oh, never. He's not a git or anything. He really isn't. But he was a bit as a child, because I'll be like, "Can I have that?" No, I still use it. And you're thinking, no, you don't.
Okay, my number 7 is the classic Action Man, or G.I. Joe, as they call them in America. And when my boy was young and we bought him an Action Man, I was so disappointed that it was all molded. Like the hair was molded, the hands were molded. Back in the day, he had a proper crew cut, a proper hair crew cut. The one I had was the original, was the sailor.
So he had a beard as well.
He had a beard as well. Ooh. And when I got hold of my dad's razor, I tried to give him a shave and cut chunks of plastic out of his face. So he ended up not only had his scar, but he had like half of his face caved in because I tried to shave off his beard. But it was all proper bristles, the rubber hands, the rubber grip and the eagle eyes, and the fact that you could go in. So I had him as a sailor, but then you could go and buy a whole card which had, infantry soldier or something, scuba diver or something. It was fantastic.
I wonder how people would look on it if it was still a thing now, because you could buy Nazi uniforms.
Yeah.
Back then. For your Action Man, for the baddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were portrayed as the baddies, but yes, you could get full Nazi uniforms.
That's right.
Your Action Man, and you could buy German tanks and all sorts.
Yeah, it's crazy. And an original Action Man will set you back starting at £50 on.
Is that boxed? Is it?
No, that's just an eagle eye, bristle-haired Action Man. £50,
they were huge,
but that's starting at £50. Obviously, that was a bid of £50.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, love the old Action Man. Right then, Lucy, your number 6.
My number 6 is roller boots, which I don't think I could get in them now. I've got friends, because like lots of people do roller derby now, which looks vicious as hell. Like you watch it, my God, it's all elbows and yeah. So my one of my good friends does it, and to be honest, the idea terrifies me. And actually, I was just reminded on Facebook the other day, when was Valentine's Day? Monday, that 2 Valentines ago, we went ice skating, and I spent most of the time falling on my ass doing that. So I just think probably rollerbooting would be even worse. But as a kid, I absolutely loved it, especially living down a street where there was like some ramps and stuff. So that was great fun. And it was also after you've been kind of making do with something really shit, like roller skates, which were clunky, and they used to like adjust, and then you'd strap them to your trainers or whatever, and they were awful and lethal. So when you got roller boots, it really felt like, it felt so special. I used to spend a lot of time in those.
And it was one of those things of being young and not having any fear about anything as well. You never thought for 1 minute you're going to get hurt attaching wheels to your feet.
That takes me back. The first time I ever did it was at the sports centre. I remember you used to be able to hire the things that strapped to your feet. And I always remember it was my friend's birthday party, and we were going around, and I was finally managed to do it after an hour, and my feet went out from under me, and I landed on my ass, and I've never been in so much pain. I had to sit through the whole of Octopussy with a really painful coccyx or ass. I always remember that at the cinema, the most uncomfortable time I've ever spent in a cinema. But no, I never roller skated again. That hurt too much.
Yeah.
We once tried to put my friend's dog Tina in roller boots, and we weren't trying to be cruel. we honestly weren't trying to be cruel. We just thought Tina, the Black Labrador, might enjoy playing roller boots with us. It didn't really go very well. Thankfully, we didn't get very far with it. So, yeah. And her little paws were kind of drowning in those big boots. So.
Yeah. I thought it would have been like Bambi on ice, all the forward legs just straight out.
Yeah.
My only vision of going rollerblading, is that the same thing? Rollerblading?
Yeah, I would have said, but that was when you had like an ice skate.
Right,
yeah.
So it was at the sports centre. And for some reason, I always equate roller skating or roller boots with falling and landing on my tooth. which sounds really stupid because like I've never lost a tooth or anything doing that, but I know that I fell down and sort of fell face first, and that was the only time I ever did it, and I landed on my tooth for some reason. But I must have strong teeth because I never knocked them out. But yeah, so as soon as you said roller boots, my teeth started to itch a little bit there.
Traumatic memories.
Yeah. Right, Neil, you said Scalextric for your number 6.
I did.
Right, so my number 6 was Cue Ball, which was the Alex Higgins electronic snooker pool game. Now, I got this one Christmas and I never stopped playing it. It was about as simple of electronic game as possible. It was little red dots that was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be pool, not snooker. And you had to just try and get them into the pockets. It was very, very simple. There was a way of being able to break and 2 balls would go in at the same time and then be able to clear the table. It was very, very simple, but I don't know what year it came out when Alex Higgins was snooker champion. So I'm not sure.
Very early 80s, I'd have thought.
It's very early 80s. So yeah, so I wouldn't have been that old, but I loved it. And that is 60 quid you can get one of those for on eBay now.
Well, there's a temptation.
Which isn't too bad. But I mean, I was a massive fan of Alex Higgins, and I think they redid the game with and then Jimmy White was the face of it. But yeah,
did he have a fag on the packet? Like
he didn't. But the one thing that always used to bother me, it's him posing on a snooker table. But it's like just red balls. So he's about to hit a ball, but he's hitting a red ball onto a red ball, which never made any sense.
They didn't have the technology, did they, back then?
Well, yeah, but it was a colour photograph of him on a snooker table. So it should have been him hitting a white ball on a red ball, surely. But
well, it should have, yeah.
It never made, that was one of those sort of like itches you could never scratch because it never made sense. Why would they do? But anyway, that's.
But I was talking about Alex Higgins. There was a picture of something, I can't remember what they showed me, of him advertising one of his things, and his pose with whatever it was him holding a flag like that and just leaning against his arm with the product just in front of him. He couldn't have been less bothered if he'd have tried. It really made me laugh.
But that was Alex Higgins, wasn't it? For anybody, any of our American listeners, Irish snooker player that was
nicknamed Hurricane.
Hurricane, very fast, very exciting to watch, and very much against the mold of what a snooker player should be.
Well,
anytime.
Well, back then he was a little, but there was a lot that drank. Well, they all drank and
they all drank,
didn't they?
Yeah, but he was, but that's what I'm saying. In those days, he was the one that was against what you should be playing snooker. These days, I don't think I can say who is snooker apart from Ronnie O'Sullivan. I don't think there is any characters in snooker anymore.
Judd Trump.
What did you say?
I'm just random Tourette. Sorry. No, that's the only other player I can remember. I watch it.
Judd Trump.
Judd Trump. Yeah, he was a world champion.
Was he?
Yeah.
I'll take
not Donald's brother.
I was gonna say.
No,
I've never heard of him. Okay. Number 5 then, Lucy.
So for number 5, it's the equivalent of something that I was reminded of it when I went to visit my friend and her kids were playing on. I can't remember what it's called. You know those things that you stand on, that you balance on, and they have wheels and they just go, they just move. Do you know what they're called?
Oh, like the
hoverboard, is it? No, not.
Yeah,
I can't think what they're called now.
Something like that, and they just kind of go. And like kids, when they get used to it, they can do some really cool tricks on it. And I was quite blown away, like watching my friend's little boy on it, and then watching her husband Gavin on it, which was hilarious because he hadn't quite mastered the art. And my friend Claire said to me, all we had at that age was them Lolo balls. And I remember those. I don't know if you know what they are. It's maybe more girls had them, but they were like these kind of oblong things, round sort of ball things with a platform around them. And you would just jump on them. And it could keep you, it sounds so boring, but it could keep you busy for hours on end until when they wore out, the thing just used to pop through, and then you just and again, like everything else, like the doll's head, it would take forever to squeeze the thing back into the platform. So I don't know if I'm describing this very well. Honestly, it was fun.
Let me see if I can Google it. See if I can Google it.
Lolo ball,
something like that. Yeah. It's like a ball in the middle of a frisbee almost.
Yes.
You jumped up and down on it, didn't you?
Yes. And that's all you did on it. But it was just something about the fact that you didn't have to stop and you could pretend you're really cool. Like when your mum's calling you in for tea and you're just bouncing on it, having a conversation going, I'll be in later. And yeah, I'm still going. I've been on this for like 35 seconds.
Yes, a Lolo ball basically looks like the planet Saturn.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah, I did enjoy that.
Yeah, I remember those. Don't think I ever had a go. I was always a bit too wary. Hurt me coccyx bad, so I didn't want to go over again.
That's the thing with me as well. Through all my life, balance has never been one of my strong points. So things like a Lolo ball, or I'm trying to Segway. It's sort of like a Segway, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen videos of people on those. Videos of when people fall off them are hilarious, but videos when people know how to use them is mesmerizing, because I don't know how you can control your balance in that way to make yourself go forward and stop and go left and right.
Yeah,
they're like death traps.
I think you'll see some like Christmas Day on social media, some great videos of the kids doing it, and they pick it up really quickly, and then towards the end of the day it's the drunken adults who just can't get anywhere, and it's always on a hard floor in the house, isn't it? So getting smashed.
Yeah,
always. Go on then, Neil, you're number 5.
So it was Evel Knievel, but
that's
bear in
my
mind,
number 3.
Is it? We had one. We had him. He even had the little conversion for the drag race car. Do you remember that? But what we wanted, me and my brother obviously played a lot together when we were younger, wanted another one so we could do even more, we thought, even more amazing stunts, crossing each other and things like that. But as we had one, my parents never came forward with that second one. They never said why or whatever, but we asked for many years. But great toy. Did you never ever have a go at one?
The stump? No, I think I played with a mate's stunt bike.
Right.
I don't think I had one.
The Evel Knievel. So he was pretty rigid, and he was sat on his motorbike. You remember Evel Knievel, Lucy, don't you?
So my husband has a tragic memory about his Evel Knievel, because I think on the advert, was there like fire and flame or something?
Yeah, they was jumping through. Yeah, over.
He tried to set that up, and I think it went quite badly and ended up with a bit of burnt plastic at the end of it. So.
Oh dear.
But the figure was just rooted like that. You couldn't move him, you couldn't do anything. So he was pretty much a useless like figure to play with, apart from if you had the toy. I used to be forever going bang, and off it go.
It was another classic one where the advert made it look amazing, because I can remember playing with one and it never used to go straight.
No, but you could get it to jump.
You'd let it go and it would veer off to one side or the other, and you'd try and set up, like you say, elaborate ramps or things for it to fly across, and it wouldn't even get to the ramp. It would just like, or it would get to the ramp, but there wouldn't be enough power for it to get over the ramp.
It never landed.
It never landed.
On the advert, it landed and off he went into the sunset.
Yeah.
He'd crash and tumble when he hit the other side.
But yeah, that's my number 3, because it was another one of those. I think now I look at that and I think how it transports me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
£70 for an Evel Knievel stunt bike.
Is it? That's not too bad, is it?
But I know that I wouldn't spend that much money on it, because it would be disappointing. Now with the fog of childhood now lifted, and the cold desperation of adulthood and middle age makes me realize what a waste of money that would be. Whereas a lot of the other ones on my top 10 I still look at with like rose tinted spectacles and pangs of my childhood, like, you know, just twanging my heart. That one is one I think I would never waste 70 quid on that. I just wouldn't.
No.
As much as how cool it looks on the advert, that's the thing.
Just keep your rose tinted glasses of one playing with it as a child.
I will do. Lucy, you're number 4.
Oh, so this is something I didn't actually get as a kid. I bought it as an adult.
Hey.
It wasn't around when I was a kid. There was nothing like this when I was a kid. But I was a massive fan of Gremlins.
Yeah.
And the Mogwai.
Right.
Gizmo. And so when the Furbies came out, do you remember the Furbies?
Yeah.
My wife's got one of those. The one that makes a noise, the one that
yes.
sings. Yes.
They sing. And
so cute.
So that was just lovely. And the fact you could get a Gizmo Furby. And I got one because a friend at work, I worked with this girl called Anna, and we worked in this recruitment company. And I remember downstairs used to have to ring up when we had candidates coming in, and there was this candidate that was really, really strange. And I remember every time he was coming in, Anna would be like, oh my God. But this time he came in, and this sounds so awful, but I was like 19, and it was really hard not to laugh because he was just very strange. And he would come in and sit down, and Anna had this Furby on her desk this time, and it was kind of facing him, and it started farting at him and going, nah, 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 nah. Just like, this is the best thing ever. So I think she just had a normal Furby. So I got a Gizmo one, and my sister got a Gizmo one. So bear in mind, she's probably 17, 18, whatever. And when you put them next to each other, they take it in turns to sing. So they'll sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, one bit each to each other. I just thought they were fabulous. However, you can't really turn them off. No. It's like they just keep talking. And I think we locked ours in like the garage at some point because it just all of a sudden it would just make a noise and do something from out of nowhere. And it was the freakiest thing. We did eventually palm it off on a friend's son, which I'm not sure they've ever forgiven us for. But I loved them. It was the closest thing to getting a Gizmo. And looking at your background now and seeing you've got Grogu there, haven't you?
I've got loads of Grogu there, yes.
Because I have been saying to myself recently, and I've got a mini Grogu that I got off my husband for Christmas because that's how grown up I am. And I do sometimes have this argument in my head, if I had to pick the cutest thing, would it be Gizmo or Grogu? But anyway, gone off on a tangent there.
Yeah,
I think, I mean, if you go to Build-A-Bear and get your Build-A-Bear Grogu, I think you'd choose Grogu.
Can you do that?
Oh, yes,
yeah, I've got one.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got one. And you can press one hand and it does the theme from Mandalorian. Press the other hand and he laughs and makes a few noises. Is a beautiful work of art.
Yeah, the Build-A-Bear one. I mean, if you've got a minute, I could run and show you.
Go and get it, Neil. Let's do show and tell. I mean, we're doing toys. Let's do show and tell. I mean, it's
I would be over the moon to have a Build-A-Bear Grogu. My stepson, his mum got him a Grogu, what do you call it?
Lego?
Hot water bottle.
Oh, hot water bottle, right.
And I got my husband and here it comes.
Yeah. For all the listeners, please go to our YouTube channel so you can have a little look. And there he is.
So mine's actually called Gerald.
Right.
Because you have to name him in Build-A-Bear.
And
she said, she laughed and laughed. She said, everybody just goes with Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
It's the first ever Gerald I've done. So since everybody's now calling Baby Yoda Gerald in my household.
Can you put him near the microphone and play?
Oh, he hasn't got the bits in. I didn't pay the extra. No, well, it was given to me. It's just a bear.
But yeah, there you
go. For another bear.
That's Lucy's birthday present sorted. Look.
They are so cute, though.
Definitely.
So cute.
Go on then, Neil. You're number 4.
So, a Mr. Frosty. I'm going back to as a kid. I always wanted a Mr. Frosty, and this is the advert's fault. Because it made it look so bloody gorgeous. And then I kept asking, never got it. And then I did eventually try one. And the first couple of mouthfuls were nice because you had all the syrup. The rest of it was just ice.
Yeah.
So it was a whole world of disappointment. And I'm glad I didn't get it, but I always wanted one.
So
I've
basically,
got to say that's my number 3. So
right, okay.
just so you know, yeah, Mr. Frosty.
It just used to crush up ice and then you'd squirt flavored syrup on it, didn't you?
Basically, like a snow cone in America.
Yeah,
slush puppy thing.
Yeah, it was. I never got it. I always wanted it, but then again, when I did finally try one, it was a whole world of disappointment. I'm glad I didn't get it. A bit like a Soda Stream, really.
Where did you try it then? Where did you try it?
A friend got it one Christmas, or his sister got it, I think, and we all went round and tried it, all us lads.
I think it's a real sore point for millions of Generation X kids around the world, because nobody seemed to get it, yet everybody knew somebody who had it, weirdly.
Yeah.
And whenever I've mentioned it on Twitter or whatever, people talk about that the ice, you just was like, you couldn't crush the ice properly, and it was just a bit pants, wasn't it? But we all desperately wanted it.
Yeah. It was like the first incarnation of Soda Stream. I always remember being so excited when my parents brought it back, and then realizing that it was really not a great thing at the beginning. So much so, look. But apparently it's improved now, though, isn't it? It's not like it was in the olden days.
Well, we just use it to fizzy up water instead of drinking pop. This is like, but you don't get those cool bottles that had those glass bottles.
Right. My brother tried to Soda Stream milk, going off on a tangent. We all tried it. The most gruesome thing I think I've ever tasted in my life. But
God, Neil, you're so adventurous. What haven't you written an autobiography or something, you know?
Because I get banned. 70s child and the early 80s child.
This is it.
It wasn't right.
I mean, again, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, also the fact that nobody seemed to enjoy a Mr. Frosty, yet everybody wanted one.
Yeah.
You couldn't go and slag people off on Twitter or Instagram because it was no good in those days. So it wouldn't really matter, because they would make these wonderful adverts and people would buy it and then just complain to each other. There wouldn't be anywhere that you could vent your anger like there is today.
No, just points of view.
Points of view.
To write the letter and read it out. Yeah.
Exactly.
No one did that, did they?
Exactly. Right then, my number 4. Now, if you liked football, I think you either had Subutio, which was very, very in detail and very complicated. If you wanted to follow the actual, I never used to follow the instructions. It used to be whoever was closest to the ball could flick it, and then you go on YouTube and watch them play professionally. It's mental. It's
like crazy.
Flick, 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 flick all over the place. Or it was Super Striker, and for me, number 4 is Super Striker. I don't know if I think
I don't know Super Striker. No? I know Subutio, but I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have a pitch with the goals. It was the goals I used to love. They had proper nets on the goals, and the goalkeeper would be on this long plastic rod, and one of their arms used to be bent so that you could put the ball in the arm and then flick the other arm so that you could throw the ball out. And every player, it was 5-a-side. It was 5-a-side football, and I think, if I remember rightly, the pitch was marked out into quadrants. So you'd have one player in each quadrant on each team, and the player would be in this pose like they were running, but you would push his head down, and his leg would swing. So the ball would go into this little gap by his foot, and you'd push his head down, and I'm doing it on the video. So you'd push his head down and his leg would kick the ball. So that would be basically how you play the game. You try and, get it into the quadrant that your player is in, and then get it to near the goal, and then shoot and score. And I used to love playing this game. It was just so much fun. And like I say, not as in depth and in detail. So you didn't have, Subutio, you could buy floodlights and scoreboards and stadiums and fans to sit on the stadium, and I had all that sort of stuff as well. But Super Striker has a quick game, and £42 on eBay for a boxed version of Super Striker.
It's not bad, is it?
That's not bad at all. That's like very tempting, I must admit. It's very tempting. But yeah, that was I'm not sure whether it used to either be a Subutio or a Super Striker kid, because I used to play both. But I think if you wanted a quick game, you'd play Super Striker. If you wanted an in-depth, proper football match, like the proper thing, then you'd go for Sabutio. So, okay, got that out of my system.
Bless.
I was kind of hoping someone would go, no, don't buy it from eBay, Pav. Don't. That's a silly thing to do for £42. But I've had nobody say that to me in the last 10 minutes. So
you're going to do it.
I maybe go on to eBay in a minute. Okay. Lucy, you said Mr. Frosty at number 3. So Neil, what's your number 3?
So it's a bicycle. When I got the first incarnation, which was the Rally Boxer, and I loved it and I rode it to death. But I wanted the next step up when I grew up, the Rally Grifter.
Oh, I had one of them.
You bastard. And so I asked this, and the year my mum decided to change my Rally Boxer, they bought me a BMX. I had no interest in BMXs in the time at that time. I wanted the Rally Grifter because it looked cooler to me. But never got one. And so much so that my friend that did have one would ride my BMX and I'd happily ride his Rally Grifter. It was just the comfort, the seat, the handlebars, everything worked. And
the changing of gears where you used to turn the handlebar, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was it red, yellow, and green?
Grip. That's it.
Oh,
yes.
God, what a bike.
Oh, I know. I wouldn't know. I wonder how much they are on eBay.
Don't tempt me to have a look, Neil. Because
I'd be tempted on one of those.
I need a new bike. I should have a look.
Oh, imagine rocking round Hull on a Rally Grifter, Lucy.
Oh, I'm in Newcastle these days.
Hull's all right, Newcastle. There you go.
Yeah. Hull's good for cycling because it's flat, isn't it? Yeah. Hull's very flat. But I did have bikes. I was always on bikes. I can't remember what bikes I had, but I remember it was always a thing. Yeah, you had to bike non-handed, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it. Learn how to ride with that. Yeah.
And if you could turn a corner while non-handed, that was.
I mean, we got given a Rally Grifter sort of when they became unfashionable. You remember the chopper with the gear stick in the middle, but the seat was buggered, so you had to sit right at the front of that long seat because otherwise you'd have a spring going where the sun didn't shine. But yeah, we got that, but I never got the Grifter. Well, there's a Stars and Stripes one for £250 on eBay. And there's a Rally Grifter Bike XL original 1980s for £320. Seems a bit expensive. Maybe I don't want one that much.
Well, I mean, if you got the money, Neil, then
that's just it. I don't.
Okay, right then. We'll move on then.
Yeah.
So I had Evel Knievel stunt bike at number 3. So Lucy, you're number 2.
Well, number 2 you couldn't buy, but it made me want it even more, and that's the Chock-a-Block machine. Do you remember the program?
Chock-a-Block machine? No.
Do you not remember this program? So it was basically, there was a presenter, Chock-a-Bloke and Chock-a-Girl.
Come on, you're making this up now. This is a book you're writing, isn't it?
No, I'm not. Google it.
I'm going to Google it.
Chock-a-Block, they would come on this like Chock-a-Truck or Chock-a-Bike or whatever it was called, this little like truck thing, and they would park it up, and then there would be this massive machine with all these different flashing lights and things, and you would pull out a drawer, and that would be your seat, and there were all these different kinds of like little blocks that you pulled out. You would pick a block and you'd put it into the machine and it would teach you something. The bits that it taught you was quite boring to sit through, but actually watching the machine do things was absolutely brilliant. So I do remember wanting a Chock-a-Block machine. These are kind of floor to ceiling things. Well, there was one of them in a TV studio somewhere, but I can't believe you don't remember it. It was fabulous.
I don't.
Yeah, presented by Carol Leader and Fred Harris.
Yes.
Yeah, from 21st of May to the 13th of August 1981, 13 episodes, 1 season. And
is that all?
It was all it was.
It was with me forever.
No, it looks like an old-fashioned computer with like reels and stuff like that. But yeah, Chock-a-Block. There you go. Yeah. 1981.
Well,
Wow. There's something that we need to have a look on YouTube at, I think, and see how that works. Wow. Okay. Right. That's your number 2. Neil, then you're number 2.
so we're going back to Action Man realm. It wasn't
Right.
an Action Man itself. It was the helicopter that they did.
Oh,
And I
right.
always wanted the helicopter. The year that I really wanted it, my mum and dad said they couldn't get one or find one, then bought me the big tower where the Action Man could abseil down. But yeah, I always wanted that helicopter. It had noises. The advert made it look like it flew on its own, but obviously it didn't. It just looked really cool when I was a kid. You're going to tell me you had one, didn't you? Aren't you, Pa?
No.
No, because I would have been jealous. I really would have been jealous. I really wanted it. The advert, like I say, made it look so cool. I think it had noises inside, but I can't recall. I can't recall that far. But yeah, I never got one. I'd be intrigued to know how much something like that would go on eBay. That would probably be expensive, wouldn't it, if it was boxed?
Probably. Well, it seems like a lot of the Action Man, original vintage Action Man stuff is quite expensive.
Yeah.
I will have a little look. In a minute.
No, but yeah, the helicopter. We had a tank. We had a boat, which we lost after the first day of getting it because stupid of us, we took it to the river to see whether it would work, and it hit the current, and we never found it again. But hey ho, it didn't have the Action Men in it. We just trialed the boat, but we lost it the first day.
That's not good.
No.
I've got a little. So before I do my number 2, I missed out my number 5 for some reason. I'm not sure why I didn't say my number 5. So I will just mention it. It was the Lone Ranger doll.
I remember that.
Now,
wow.
I had the Butch Cavendish, which was the baddie of the Lone Ranger, and the attention to detail, the guns and everything, and the hat was fantastic. Always wanted the Lone Ranger doll and never, ever got it. And one of my friends used to have the Tonto figure. And it's whenever I see him, he always mentions it. When we played together one day, I threw it up in the air and broke Tonto's ankle. Well, basically his foot came off. And when I was working at a job that he was actually working in another section over at the other side of the factory, and I went for a job in his section, and the first thing he said to me was Tonto. So after like 30 years, he still hadn't. I was just thinking, you've got to let it go, mate. You honestly got to let it go. And I was thinking, no, what I'll do, I'll buy him one. But even looking back then, they were expensive. And if you want a Lone Ranger doll, like a vintage one, it's $399.
Jeez.
Wow.
You want one that's like boxed with all the bits. So unfortunately, he's gonna have to just have a broken Tonto because I am paying for a Tonto that's that. But the Lone Ranger doll was fantastic. So that was my number 5. So apologies. There are probably people at home going, "Oh, where's your number 5, Pav?" And they can't carry on until I've done it. So there's number 5. My number 2. Now I could have had a whole top 10 of Star Wars stuff. Just could have done. There's so much Star Wars stuff that I had, so much Star Wars stuff that I never had. It still makes my skin itch with the fact that I can't remember how old I was, but we had a garage sale and I sold my AT-AT and I sold other Star Wars things. And we had nearly every Star Wars figure between me and my brother. And the majority of them are somewhere buried in the sand dunes of Breen and Barrow in Somerset. We were playing one year when we was down there for a holiday, pretending it was Tatooine, playing with them in the sand. Our mum calls us for dinner. We goes for dinner, comes back and can't find them anywhere. Now, either some kid has walked up and gone, "Ooh, Star Wars figures," or they just got buried and are still there somewhere. I don't know. My number 2 was my favorite Star Wars toy of the lot, and it was the Death Star playset, which was all basically just cardboard. It was just cardboard interconnected, but it was fantastic. It had a trash compactor, it had the trash chute, it had a gun at the top, it had different levels, different sections for your Star Wars figures to play in. I had a look on eBay at this, and there isn't a complete one that you can buy, but each individual piece of cardboard is going for about 50 quid. So it can probably be about, I would say, probably 300, 400 quid if you put all the bits and pieces together. but it was my even though you had the Millennium Falcon, all those kind of things, that Death Star playset, the original Palitoy playset, was just a thing of beauty. Only cardboard, but it just, oh my god, to have one of those in front of me again would be just.
Would you do it? Would you buy it? Would you collect the cardboard bits year after year until you built it?
You know what? I did think about that, but I have got a Millennium Falcon up in the loft with bits that are missing, and I did buy like the cockpit cover, and again that was like 30-40 quid just for that. So you just get little bits and pieces, and I don't know, I would love to, I really would, but you know, real life and stuff gets in the way. Yeah. I hope my wife isn't listening to this, because she's really going to be worried. Okay, that's our countdown from 10 to 2. Before we get to our number ones, Lucy, do you want to give us a countdown of your number 10 to number 2, please?
Yes. So at 10, I have Hungry Hippos. At 9, Domino Rally. At number 8, The Doll Whose Head Flew Off. Number 7, The Magic Sand. Number 6, The Roller Boots. Number 5, The Lolo Ball. Number 4, The Furby. Number 3, Mr. Frosty. Number 2, Chock-a-Block.
Okay, Neil, your 10 to 2, please.
So at number 10, I would like a real go-kart, please. Anybody listening? At number 9, the Planet of the Apes dolls, if you'd be so kind.
We are giving out a Santa list. This is what we're doing it for.
Number 6, a swimming pool, please. But a pump-up one. Number 7, the Nintendo handheld Donkey Kong. Number 6, the Scare Electrics. Number 5, Evil Knievel. Number 4, Mr. Frosty. Number 3, a Rally Grifter. And number 2, the Action Man Helicopter.
Thank you. And my number 10 was the Matchbox Race and Chase. Number 9, Tin Can Alley. Number 8 was Crossfire. 7 was the original Action Man with Eagle Eyes and Rubber Grip. Number 6, the cue ball. It doesn't matter how you say that. It sounds filthy, doesn't it? The Rubber Grip. Anyway, 6, cue ball, which is the Alex Higgins electronic snooker game. 5 was the Lone Ranger doll. 4, Super Striker. 3, Evil Knievel stunt bike. And 2, the Star Wars Death Star Palitoy playset. So, Lucy, what is your number one toy you wanted or had as a child?
Knight Rider car.
I wasn't expecting that.
No.
I absolutely lived for Knight Rider. It was everything. And every year as a kid, I remember going when you had to go and sit on Santa's knee, which was always a bit weird. I always asked for a Knight Rider annual because that was easy. You know, the specials you got out the catalogue. Yeah. Never got one. I got one of those teeny tiny little Knight Rider cars, but you could get the bigger ones. I never got one of them. But I think more than anything, because your imagination can run wild as a kid, can't it? And because I didn't understand how cars worked, I remember sitting in the back of the car one time when my dad was driving us somewhere, and he set off and we started moving, and he didn't have his hands on the steering wheel.
Oh, right.
And I started thinking, oh my God, we've got a kit car. Like I was, because I thought, because you just, you know, when you're little, I was probably, I don't know, how old would I have been when that was 5, 6 or something. I just thought that the steering wheel was what drove the car. I didn't understand that there were pedals and things. So I honestly thought it was magic. We had some kind of kit car, and I, you know, my imagination was just running wild that we were doing turbo boost and all kinds of like weird shit down the road to Leicester or wherever we were going, where I lived when I was younger. But I just, everything about the Knight Rider program. Do you remember it when the soundtrack had that music and how excited you would feel when the Knight Rider soundtrack came on? Yeah. It's just brilliant. Anyway, I never got the Knight Rider special as a kid. When I was traveling, I was living in New Zealand for a while, and it was my birthday, and my friend Sarah sent me this.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
Which I've kept hold of. So I've had this now for about 20 years. And it's fabulous. And she's put like little notes in it. Lucy wants a Knight Rider annual, huh? We'll go back in time and get her one. And so it's this was when eBay, people were just starting to use eBay and stuff around then. So this to me was just so novel and fabulous. But yeah, I just anything Knight Rider would, yeah.
Okay.
I was disappointed.
So it isn't specifically the Knight Rider car then. It is anything Knight Rider then.
Well,
Or
I
was
mean,
there
the
a
ultimate would be having kit,
Right.
wouldn't it?
Right.
Like, imagine if that was parked on my driveway. I've got
Yeah.
a Scirocco, which I like, but imagine having. And I did a bit of research tonight to remind myself what else he did. Kit.
Yeah.
He did some amazing stuff. So he had a male voice, and he
Yeah.
had flamethrower in the car, but also fire extinguishers, because safety and all that.
Safety.
Very health and safety.
Yeah.
Could fill the car with oxygen, so that if the car went underwater, everybody would survive. So it would be full of oxygen. Had some kind of pyroclastic lamination, something or other. So basically, could go through lava and survive. I mean, this car was hard as nails, and the turbo boost, and when the car went up and like jumped over flames or buildings or whatever, wasn't it just the most amazing thing? I don't know if it's just me. I'm very passionate about Knight Rider.
Well, the other thing it also had was it had the Hoff, didn't it? I mean,
The Hoff.
the Hoff was there. I mean, he's a superhero just on his own anyway. So
Yes,
that's a good one. I wasn't, after all of your other ones, I wasn't expecting Knight Rider to be your number one. I have to admit.
Fair play,
I have to
fair
admit.
play.
Well done. Very good. Go on then, Neil. You're number one.
So this Christmas, back when I was a childhood, me and my brother had loads of Star Wars toys given to us. I was given the AT-AT. My brother was given the Millennium Falcon. The next year, I so desperately wanted Millennium Falcon, but I never got it. And I'm still envious that you've got it, pal. So I was allowed to play with my brother's Millennium Falcon. He would allow me to play with that one if I would let him play with the AT-AT, etc. But yeah, I always wanted my.
And didn't
own
you say
version.
no, sod off? You wouldn't let me play with your Donkey Kong.
No, that was later on, actually.
Oh, right,
the Donkey
okay.
Kong, yeah. But
Okay.
yes, just the Millennium Falcon, probably what you've got up in the attic, Pav. I'll buy it off you for 20 quid.
Okay. 20 quid. It is a thing of beauty, though. That's the
It
thing.
is.
I don't know. I've never seen because obviously they've re-released them. How well they're made now, in regards to what you get with them and how big they are and stuff. But
No, I've never seen. I mean, I was in the Lego store in Bristol at the weekend, and they've got that huge one for £700.
yeah,
I
I couldn't do something that size of Lego because I've done a BB-8 in Lego that my grandson got hold of and smashed to bits, and that took long enough. I got my Yoda, my baby Yoda, my Grogu
I've got one of those
behind
yes.
somewhere there. I don't know where it is. That took long enough. So to do something that is like, I mean, how many pieces is that?
Oh, I didn't even look.
Thousands,
I just
I would
kept
assume.
saying £700. Is that? Can we do that? I really was tempted.
But that's
I thought,
that's another
no.
thing, isn't it? Is that we now have the thing that we didn't have as children. We have money. We
Yeah.
have money that I mean, obviously it would be wrong to do that, but if we took this month's mortgage money or this month's rent money and thought, I'm going to go and buy a Lego Millennium Falcon,
Yeah.
and let's see what people say about that. It doesn't matter because
No.
you're the boss now.
I wish it was as easy as that. Eh?
I know.
I wish it was.
We all do, Neil. We all do. Okay, my number one is the one that I genuinely almost bought for £149 off eBay. It's the $6 Million Man doll. The one reason that I loved this, more than an Action Man, was he had socks. The thing, you never got that with like men dolls. He had a wonderful red tracksuit, brilliant red trainers, but he had white socks.
Yeah.
They never had that. Action Men just had boots and on their plain feet. They never had socks.
Well, we had I don't know whose it was. We had a $6 Million Man.
I had one, but
Yeah.
it's one of those ones that I wish I'd kept. I wish
Yeah.
I'd kept hold of it.
Because you could open his arm, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And
the
then
he
look
had
through his eye.
bionics, yeah, and you tilted his head to one side, put the engine in his hand, and then he had a little button on his back that would wrench the engine up. And he had socks.
Socks.
Oh, sorry, I'm not going to let it go. He had
So
socks.
Basically, you want toy socks.
I want toy socks. and I cannot lie. No, I want. There are various versions of him on eBay, but a boxed one, like with everything there fully done, is 149 quid.
Yeah.
But
Well,
oh
great,
my god.
yeah.
Oh,
And it really did look like Lee Majors.
It really looked like Lee Majors. And again, the same as you with Knight Rider, Lucy. I was a massive fan of the $6 Million Man TV show. It's only when you're older then you realize how stupid that whole slow motion thing is, which is supposed to equate to him running really fast because everything around him is still going the same, the same speed as well. But yeah, that's my number one. Oh,
yeah, great.
We had some honorable mentions, so let me just go through those. Jen Berg, like you, Neil, said the Millennium Falcon. I'm still waiting for Santa to bring me this from the 1979 J.C. Penney Christmas catalogue. I've been really, really good, I promise, she says. Bless. Amanda Facer says Game & Watch Donkey Kong. Never had the money. My mum used to have to save Green Shield stamps up to get us presents.
Oh, bless.
Emma Housden said the Bionic Woman.
Oh, there you go.
And Jen Berg said her head clicked when you turned it since she had a bionic ear. There you go. So I'm not sure quite, because obviously with the $6 Million Man, you'd look through his head to see the bionic eye. I wonder what you did for the bionic ear with the woman toy.
Just a creaky neck by the sounds of it.
A creaky neck, yeah. Carol Gray says, I loved my penny puppy walker. I didn't think I'd be lucky enough to get one, but Santa was very kind that year. I can still remember the advert for it. I can't remember why. I went upstairs sometimes, but I can't remember that. Okay. So the penny puppy walker, I'm not sure exactly what that is, whether it's a doll that maybe walked a dog, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Or a pushchair, maybe?
Maybe. Lisa Buchanan said, aging myself, but an Etch-a-Sketch. Never got a break. Considered myself quite the artist with straight lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I found the Etch-a-Sketch the most boring toy. I got it in the end one Christmas, and I think I played with it Christmas Day, and that was it. I thought,
yeah.
Didn't you try to spin them at the same time to try and make an arc?
Yeah,
all sorts that first day. I don't think I ever picked it up again afterwards.
Or you'd do something not bad on it, and then some ass would come and just shake it. So they'd be gone. Again, there was no save button on it. You couldn't save it or take a picture of it with your phone. It was just gone forever. Sue James there said the Spirograph. So we did mention that a little bit earlier on. Stu Grant said Defo all He-Man figures. Mask, which I'm not sure was that like a Transformers kind of thing?
Sort of. It was the American thing, wasn't it?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Transformers, Boglins.
Oh yes,
were they like the little gremlin sort of thing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
Right, and Atari as well. So there you go. Thank you very much for all the honourable mentions.
Yeah.
And I forgot to do this at the start before you let everybody know how they can get in touch with us, Neil. We do need to say a shout out for all our new Patreon subscribers. So thank you very much, David Diaz. Thank you, Rachel Davis. Thank you, Tom Perner. And thank you, Donald Fuller, for subscribing to our Patreon. Now, I did put a little poll out. Lucy, as you're a writer and, a lot more cleverer than I am.
Test me at something.
I'm trying to find a name for our Patreon subscribers. Now, we spoke about it on last week's or the week before's episode, where I thought about calling us tenors or calling them tenors. But Neil said no, because that is what is it, Neil?
In consonant pads.
It's in consonant pads. So maybe that wouldn't, yeah. Well, and so we did have, I think we had toppers.
Well, that's not bad.
Good.
Yeah.
Or the 10 tribe.
10 tribes, not bad.
Or the top 10 tribe, maybe. I don't know. It obviously needs to be something that goes with Patreon. So they're like our Patreon toppers. I mean, toppers is quite nice.
It rings.
A bit of a ring to it. But yeah, so if anybody, email us at toptenpods at hotmail.com if you've got any ideas. We won't sort that out until we come up with one that everyone goes, that's the one. There's one out there. I know there is. There will be.
There will be. It just needs some thought.
I know there is. Before you do all your bits and pieces, Neil, Lucy, so what have you been up to in the time that we haven't? Because we spoke on our This Country podcast a while back. What have you been up to?
So, gosh, when was that? So I think that was when I just released my book, wasn't it?
I think it was. I'm going to have a look and I'll let you know.
Yeah, so I think that was just when I'd released the 27 Club. So I've written the follow-up to that, which isn't out yet. I'm working on a non-fiction book, which is kind of under wraps at the minute because my publishers said I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. So that's something that just briefly mention, vaguely mention. That's something that I'm working on for 2023. And yeah, just lots of writing, I guess, lots of behind the scenes work. I mean, it take quite a while before a book comes to fruition, and then hoping obviously people pick it up. But yeah, and I've been trying to get into new music as well, because that's something I promised myself, that I've been stuck in the 90s for far too long. So I've been relying on my stepson to introduce me to new music, and I'm off to a couple of gigs with him. I'm off to see Wolf Alice next Monday, week on Monday. So yeah, music and writing mainly.
Right. Well, your episode on WTAF came out on the 23rd of August, 2020. So well over. I mean, it's like 18 months ago.
Oh my God, that was before.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that long ago. I thought it was sometime last year that we spoke to you, but obviously not. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that was way before I'd written 27 Club. So I'll just plug 27 Club now.
Absolutely.
My novel.
Absolutely. So tell everyone what's it. Give them a bit about what it's about.
So the 27 Club is a novel that is about challenging mental health stigma and sort of media sensationalist headlines, but it's funny. It's a bit of a dark comedy. It's set in 1994, and it's when the main character Emma, who is a massive music fan, hears of the death of Kurt Cobain and becomes obsessed with this idea of rock musicians dying age 27, and it kind of takes her on a bit of a quite a touching, but also I hope people have said it's a bit of a laugh out loud journey as well. So yeah, a funny book with a serious message, to sum it up.
Okay, and how can people get hold of that?
So that's on, it's kind of everywhere. It's on, Amazon, Apple, Kobo, Waterstones. But if you want to buy local and independent, you can buy online from two of my favourite bookstores, which is Wrecking Ball Music and Books, which are Hull-based but deliver nationally, and also Forum Books, which are based in Corbridge but deliver nationally. So they're two local indies to support.
Lovely. Well, if you want to send me the links, I'll put the links in the show notes of the pod, and then people can just click on those. Go on then, Neil. It's your big moment. Do you want to tell everybody how they can get in touch with us, and also come and become a Patreon
subscriber at the moment?
Go on then, Neil.
Right, absolutely. You can find us on all the social medias and at Top 10 Pods. So do please give us a like, and do give us a follow. We'd much appreciate that. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com, where you can give us ideas for other top 10s or any other questions you may have. Come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/Top 10 Pods, where you can get rewards such as our episodes super early, bonus episodes, behind the scenes videos, and even a chance to be a guest on an episode yourself. Check out all the links via the Linktree below. It should be in the link in the show notes, I believe, Pav. And please come and subscribe and leave us a rating review on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts from.
Indeed. And also remember, with the Patreon, we now have the video playlists. So we will have all the adverts for all of the toys that we've spoken about on on our run-ins today. I mean, it'll be just a walk down memory lane.
Yeah.
It'll be a walk down memory lane. There'll be a misty eye in everybody's head. Oh, that just sounds terrible. That's why I'm not a writer, Lucy, you see.
There'll be a lot of bitterness from kids who did not get Mr. Frosty or Millennium Falcon.
People will look at it and go, I had that toy and it didn't do what it did on that advert.
Exactly.
I'm telling you for a fact. So we might get a bit of anger with that. Lucy, thank you so much for joining us. It's been loads of fun, this walk down memory lane.
It has. It's been Thanks for having me.
Good. And thank you, Neil, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Pav. Thank you, Lucy. It's been an absolute joy to see you again.
And I must admit, Neil, that I've known you all these years, and you can still surprise me. Look about that.
Oh, yes.
Eh? So if I buy Super Striker, look, come over, bring your Star Wars scale electrics, and we'll have a snooker, a football and Star Wars evening.
Sounds like fun to me.
It does, doesn't it? God,
It really does.
What old farts we are.
The only problem being is at our age, is getting on our knees to build the track.
I'll put it up on the table. Don't be silly. We're not going to bend down.
Oh,
for God's sake.
Well,
no.
well,
No,
maybe.
we'll put it on the table. Don't worry. That's it. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. And let's go start the countdown.
10, 9.